some of that old school 70s music in there, huh?
You know it. You
Yeah,
recognize it. You recognize it.
I forgot the name of the group, but
yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. I play bass.
Yeah.
I play bass and rhythm guitar, so I like
okay.
this. Shake. All right. Well, welcome to the program. Our guest tonight is Mr. Vincent E. Brown. Welcome. Would you like to say hello? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, hello, everybody. Like you said, my name is Vincent E. Brown. I was born October 16th, 1968, in a place called Roanoke, Virginia. And for a while, we stayed there. And then we moved to the state of Washington because my dad was in the Air Force.
Ooh.
And we lived in Tacoma for some time. I only remember that because I was so young. You know, I only remember that. But we moved back to the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, Prince George's County. And that's where I grew up. Went to 2 elementary schools, a middle school, and high school, graduated. And in 1986, after I graduated from high school, I moved down here to Durham, North Carolina. And well, I didn't so-called move down here, but I came here to go to school in 1986. And 2 years later, I ended up staying here permanently because I liked it so much. I didn't like the hustle and bustle of Washington, D.C. And about a couple of months after I first came to Durham, I received Christ into my life, got born again, and started living for the Lord. 1989, I was a missionary, full-time missionary for 3 years, from 1989 to 1989, 90, and 91. And I've been here. I've been here, like I said, since 1988. I was 19 years old when I first moved down here. Sometime later, met my wife. We got married in 2004, and we're coming up on our 20th anniversary in November. And she hails all the way from Liberia. She's from Africa.
Ooh.
Yeah, and she can tell you some stories. I tell you, from Liberia. You know, she's been through 2 civil wars, and she was a prisoner of war and everything. And we're going through the process of getting her naturalized. You know, and it's been a long, slow process, but you know, we've been married going on 20 years now. And I started a radio program in 2009, like I was discussing with you earlier, called Black by Color Only. And that show came about because back in 1995, it was my 27th birthday, October the 16th, 1995. They had an event in Washington, D.C. called the Million Man March. And, you know, people were talking about, you know, hey, you know, this is filling us with pride and everything. And I said, you know, I basically said in so many words, I'm not, this is not a proud thing for me. I don't agree with Louis Farrakhan or anything like that. And I wrote an op-ed in my paper here in Durham about it. And one guy, he came up and he was like, well, Vincent, you know, you say you're black, but I think you're only black by color only. And when he said that, I said, that'll be a good name for a newsletter or something like that. And it stewed in my mind for a long time until I discovered Blog Talk Radio. And when I discovered that, that's when I started my first show, July the 11th, not 19, but 2009. And you know, and basically what I do on that show, I talk about the issues that affect the Black race, and I tell people I'm black by color only. People they get offended when I say that, but I say, well, first of all, it's one of y'all that helped me to get this name, and second of all, I see myself as an individual. I don't see myself as part of a collective. You know, being a born again Christian, I don't cater to my skin color or anything like that. I just want to be about the truth. That's all I care about. Whether it's from a white man, black man, Chinese man, whoever, all I want to be about is the truth. And that's basically been my thing for the past 15 years now. And hopefully, like I said, I'm hoping to start a podcast It's not gonna be called Black by Color Only. It's gonna be called True Sharks Radio. And
Ah.
and the reason why I call it True Sharks, because I like the truth, and sharks are my favorite animal. I love sharks. I know I'm a nerd.
Oh my goodness! You know what? You just hit on something. You were a military brat, okay?
Yeah.
Coming out, the transition to the Black community was a hard thing, very hard thing, and that's the same way. I'm an individual. I just want to be me. I don't want to fit into anything, and that's a dynamic that most people don't experience. So you're not really Black. You're only Black on the outside, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you read my book yet?
No, I haven't. I think you did send the link or something.
I can do that. But I have a copy here, so you can't miss it. It's on Amazon. Growing Up White Warriors Guide to Fitting In.
Oh, okay. I've never seen that one. Oh, you know, I had to get that one. Look at that. He got an Oreo cookie on that.
Wait. Before you go there, there's no Oreo on here. Copyright. You know, I wrote Nabisco to get this, but this is a generic one. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
that's all right. That's all right.
Oh my goodness. I'm there after my own heart. We've been through the same things.
Yeah.
So, and it's hard. It's very hard to not fit on, either side. But once you get out, the military kids were all the same. We're all friends and everything. But when you outside the gate, it gets real, a little too real. So
yeah.
So you continue on. John Bukowski has a like here. He's a horror. A thriller author, very prolific, friend of mine. Anyway, hi John. I'm gonna add that on there. So go ahead, tell us more about what you do. But I know you're, as a religious man, how do you cope with that? The culture, is it different, or have you gotten used to?
Well, like I said, I've been born again since 1986. And the thing about it is, when I was coming up, you heard about the Black history and everything and stuff like that, and all that's fine, but there was something about it that it just didn't sit right with me. And when I became a born again Christian, and being exposed to the truth, I was about, look, I'm not going to be catering to my skin color. If you're a white man and you carry the name of Jesus, you're as much as my brother as a Black man is. And that's one of the things. It's almost like you have to be a part of a collective, and you have to think like everybody else does. And that's the type. I don't want to be that person. I want to be able to, judge my environment. Judge my environment and come to my own conclusions without someone telling me, "Oh, you got to think like this because you're part of this group and everything." I don't get caught up into the Blackness and everything and stuff like that. I've done a lot of reading, and a lot of what I was taught when I was a kid, I'm starting to see that we were taught the wrong thing, and that's been, I guess you could say, that's been my mission to enlighten Black people about the truth. And I'm not trying to ignore that our ancestors went through slavery and Jim Crow and all that and everything, but the main thing I try to let people know is we're not living in that era today. And I tried, and of course, when you bring the truth, you have to put a little grace with the truth. You can't just come hard on people and everything. I try not to do that, but a lot of people, they don't do me this. They don't return the favor in kind. And you're probably familiar. They give you these cute little names like Coon and Sellout.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I've had Step It, Fetch It.
Right.
About a couple of years ago, someone called me a black comfort dog for white conservatives.
Oh,
yeah. And I was like, wow, okay. But I tell people that I'm not intimidated by the names. All the names do is strengthen my resolve. That's all it does. It just makes me that much harder to put the truth out there. And I try to let people know that I'm not so stupid as to think that there are no racist white people out there, because there are, but we have
Right.
to understand that white people aren't the only races that we'll come across. There are black races, there are yellow races, everybody has a propensity to be racist. And they would come up at me with these definitions like, well, a black person can't be a racist because
Oh,
we don't
yeah.
have the power. And I'm
Oh,
like, well, I say, well, what do you call hating a white person then? And they'll say, well, we can be prejudiced and biased, but we can't be racist. I'm like, well, what do you think racism is? That's what racism is. It's a prejudice and a bias. And it doesn't soften the blow that you just say, oh, it's just a prejudice and a bias. No, it's racism. And I try to tell people I don't believe in reverse racism. Racism is racism, whether it comes from a white person, black person, or whoever. And trying to get this message out to the churches, because one of the things that really bothers me is the black churches. They'll get up and they'll start shouting and, oh, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus, and everything. And then you see them at the voting booth and they're voting for people who don't who don't who don't carry Christian principles. Because when I first came to Mount Zion, I'm giving you the name of the church I used to go to. The church I went to here in Durham, I went to for 26 years, and the pastor was black. It was a mostly black church, but he preached conservative values, which I appreciate. But one thing I noticed was he would preach conservative values, but most of the people didn't carry those values. When Barack Obama was up for election in 2008, a lot of people in the church, they said, well, I'm gonna vote for Barack Obama because I want to be a part of history. And that was strange to me. I was like, but he supports ungodliness, he supports abortion, he supports homosexuality, he supports all these things that are against, but people like, no, and I started telling people that a lot of us black folks, we worship our skin color and our civil rights and our politics more than we do the word of God. On Sunday, we'll go in and, shout, oh, Jesus and everything. But then when it comes time to vote, it's like, okay, I'm gonna put my Bible to the side here. It's time for me to be political. And I tell people, your beliefs should affect your politics, not your politics affecting your beliefs. And it boggles my mind, really, because a lot of these people that I've seen, they will be out there with us protesting the abortion clinics and whatever, but then they'll turn around and vote for somebody who supports abortion.
Right.
And it was weird to me. And they'll be talking about, we black people, we're oppressed and everything. And so I'm like, well, we have freedom in Jesus. Well, we shouldn't be,
right.
And they would think that preaching civil rights is the same as preaching the gospel. And I say, if you would just preach the gospel, that'll take care of the civil rights. That'll take care of all of that,
right.
And it's not an easy thing. It really boggles my mind how people can call themselves Christians, but they'll vote for somebody who are very contrary to the Christian faith, but they just vote for them because of their personality, their charisma. I had a friend of mine, he's a pastor, and I was telling him, I was talking to him about, the differences between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. And he was like, well, I won't vote for Trump because he's a bully. I was like, what? Are you serious? So you mean to tell me you'll rather vote for the collapse of our country because you think, the mean tweets thing,
Right. Yeah.
I don't like the way he said this and everything, but his policy, I don't think Donald Trump is a Christian per se, but his policies line up with Christian principles. And I say, if you call yourself a Christian, you shouldn't be voting personality or because someone is black or something like that. You should be voting on them based on their policies, and that's when I accepted the truth of Jesus Christ into my life. That's all I cared about was the truth. I don't care if you're black or white or whatever. If you carry this truth, then you got an audience with me. I don't care who you are. I've been accused of trying to kiss up to the white man and bootlicker and all that and everything. And I've heard all the jokes. There might be some more I may not have heard of, but that's just how it's been. And it's not easy being not just a conservative black person, but a conservative black person that carries Christian principles. So that's basically how my story goes.
Oh,
And
yeah,
and my wife, she's from Liberia.
Yeah.
And my wife is even more gung-ho than I am. She's, oh gosh. Oh man. Now see, I'm not a fan of Trump per se. I just like his policies. My wife is gung-ho, like Trump, and it surprises some people because she's from Liberia and she's been through some stuff. She's like I said, she was a prisoner of war and whatever. And she's like, I don't understand people in this country. You were born and raised in this country, but you can't stand this country. You don't appreciate what this country has for you. Last week we were at another DMV. I don't know what it is with the DMV with me lately, but last week we were at another DMV, and this African man, he was having a dispute with these two black women about, appreciating what they have in this country. And they were like, well, I grew up, I grew up in Jim Crow and everything. And no one's doubting that. No one's saying that you didn't go through something in Jim Crow, but we're not in Jim Crow anymore. I tell people, Jim Crow is dead and he's not going to be resurrected. Nobody is resurrecting Jim Crow. That's not going to happen. And so, for one thing, I don't like politics. I don't like to deal with politics. Well, I know I have to deal with it because that's the world we live in, but I really don't like getting into politics. And these people were disputing with this man, and he was like, you should appreciate what you all have here, because over in Africa, we don't have, what you all have here. In Africa, they probably wish they could stand in line for a long time to get their driver's license or something like that. But, and I told them, I said, my wife is from Liberia, and she can tell you that, hey, this, what you all have here in the United States, you need to go to another country because you don't know how good you have it. Where my wife comes from, Liberia, in their constitution, and I read this constitution, in their constitution, it's illegal for a non-Negro to become a citizen in Liberia. So, and I saw it myself, someone, I said, let me check out their constitution. Let me see and I said, oh my goodness, no non-Negro can become a citizen of Liberia. So Liberia is a country of, and my wife said, well, if they would let some white people in, maybe they'll help us, get over, our economy and stuff like that. So, but, it boggles her mind. It really does. And like I said, she's more gung-ho. I was talking to her the other day, and she's mentioning policies and people I've never heard of. I'm supposed to be an American here, and she's mentioning people and what they're about and everything. I said, well, doggone it, you sitting here, you getting this stuff, ain't you? She was like, yeah, and you're talking about a woman. She didn't have the she didn't have the freedom for education that we have in this country. She never graduated high school. And because in her country, they had the wars and everything. And, she didn't have the opportunities that we have here in this country. But she picks up on it, and she's like, you know what? She told me the first time when Trump ran for election, she said, honey, you need to vote for Trump. Now, that first time I was like, nah, I ain't voting for no Trump. And I was like, this man's just a movie star, and everything like that. I don't think he's going to run this country real good. And then when he got elected, I was like, wait a second. Whoa. Hold up. Stop the presses. This guy is actually attempting at least attempting to do what he has promised. And when I saw the statistics about black unemployment and certain other things he was doing, I was like, oh my goodness, this man, he's really actually acting on what he's saying. He's not just saying stuff so he could get elected. He's actually saying it, and he's actually doing the job. And so the second time he was up for, when he was up for re-election, it was no problem with me voting for him because I saw what, he stood for. And I was like, okay, of course he didn't win, but well, I'm not going to go into that, but
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it's somewhat of a struggle being black and being a Christian conservative. I had to balance. Make sure I keep, when I tell the truth, make sure I keep it seasoned with grace and whatever, but also just want to be upfront and tell people this is the deal. You can't be a beta male like Jesse Lee Peterson says. Beta.
He's hilarious. I called a show once. Great guy.
Yeah.
Lesbian.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jesse just does that to pluck people's nerves.
Yeah, he does. He's a showman,
And I have no problem with that. I'm like, Jesse, you do your thing, But it's another thing that really has my heart too is, a lot of the doctrine that we have in our churches, not the political, but a lot of what we have in the churches.
Yeah.
A lot of false doctrine. You sent me something about the King James Bible and everything and stuff like that. And I have no problem with the King James,
that's fine.
I used to be a King James onlyist. I used to be one of those.
Right.
But when you get to thinking, you're like, wait a minute, we don't speak in Old English anymore. So what? I mean, thinketh thou this and everything. We don't speak like that anymore. No. And so I became a little bit more open to other Bibles. Right now I'm reading a English Standard Version. But the King James onlyists, they want to tell you that no Bible is good except for the King James Bible.
Yeah.
And I have so many problems with that. I really do. And a lot of doctrines that go on in the churches. And I basically want to keep the truth in the church world and in the political world, because it's no time for us to be, messing around or anything like that. We can't be playing with this truth. Too many lives are at stake.
Absolutely. So yeah, you rant about these things in the morning. Well, I love it. I love when you're driving or I love that. And I'm like, yes. So you don't have a name for that, do you? You just go out there on your Facebook page and you just start spouting out.
Yeah. I just do that on the fly, play it by ear. And I said I basically need to stop that and just start doing it from home, because it's only my time is limited because I'm on my way to work.
Right.
It's like something comes up in your head and I say, I gotta say this. And everything. I say, and that's why I want to start a podcast, because I want to really elaborate on, what I talk about in the mornings on my way to work. So.
Yeah, but it's awesome. I have a lot of friends who do that. Walk down the block or something or whatever and talk about things. But yeah, I like what you say. I agree with everything you say because it's like, yeah. Don't some of the things like you said, just because the pastor says something doesn't mean it's right or it's for you or don't do that. You can't. He doesn't run your life.
Yeah.
Right. You gotta. And I think that's a pitfall for a lot of people. If they say do this, people will do that without thinking about it. And I don't know. You gotta be wise. You gotta be wise.
Yeah.
Because it's a man. A man is not God. So
that's right. And the Bible even says, "Be wise as serpents and gentle as doves."
Right.
With all you're getting, get understanding. A lot of us, we have knowledge of something, but we don't have the wisdom to activate that knowledge. because
Right.
you know we're so caught up in hoarding all this knowledge in our head, and hey, I know this and I remember this phrase and I can quote this scripture and everything. But the thing is, you know the words, but do you know what they mean? Do you know how that really
Yeah.
work them? You know, I mean, for real.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree. There's so many dynamics to man, the inner, we call it intercessory to the people. And then I started this book I was going to write. It's called Black Kingdom. It was about the gospel or Black churches and how they became a kingdom of a hierarchy
Yeah,
where the least of these should be the pastor, the
yeah,
biggest servant. And yeah, and things get flashy and get, out of control. And I've seen that happen so many times.
yeah,
And it's not just them; it's other people do this.
yeah,
I am the pastor. Well, if you're the pastor, you should be the chief servant.
yeah,
And some people are, and they do a great job. Some people let it go to their heads. They buy this, that, and the other, and it's all about them. And so, and I think you kind of like brought that out on
yeah,
one of your rants. So
yeah. And I went to this church for like 25, 26 years, and I was faithful to the ministry. Like I said, I was a 3-year missionary. But some things just some things just came up that I started to learn that this is not scriptural. And this church, I'll give you a clue as to what this church is. You ever heard of the basketball player Tracy McGrady?
yeah, right.
He graduated from school at that church.
Oh,
That's where he
really?
graduated from. I watched him play in his senior year. He was a dynamic player, and he was recruited out of high school into the NBA. And I used to
Wow.
work in the academy at this church. But there were certain things about the church that really bothered me. It was like, that they were like, every time the doors to this church open up, you need to be there.
Right.
If don't travel on Sunday because you're supposed to be in the house of the Lord. And if you had to get up early the next morning to go to work, but the church was having a revival, they were like, well, just come to the revival, and the Bible says God will quicken your mortal body and everything and stuff like that. And it got to the point where it was like your life centered around that church. You revolved
Yes.
around that church, and just like you said, the hierarchies and everything. It was like if you didn't have a title to your name,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're nothing. We don't need to listen to you and everything. But the thing
Yep.
that caused me to leave that church was the pastor. He had this thing that he made mandatory to the church. He said, everybody needs to give $1 a day.
What?
Yeah, he would say everybody needs to give $1 a day, and that that means everybody will have $365 at the end of the year, and then we can give that at the end of the year. Now, I had just gotten fired from a job, and my finances weren't doing too well, and I actually ended up getting a job at the church, at the academy, as a
Oh,
teacher's assistant. And my
yeah.
wife was like, honey, do you really want to work there? I was like, I need a job. We need to get some money and everything. And my finances weren't going good. And plus, at the church, they had an incident where we couldn't get paid like we should have been. So my finances were a wreck. And so the pastor, one day my wife, she used to work as a hostess at the church. And I was waiting for her, to finish doing, whatever, so we can go out and, whatever we were going to do. And the pastor saw me. He said, Vincent, come here, come here. He said, you got your $365 evangelism seed. That's what he called it, evangelism seed, you know. And I said, no, I don't have it, And he was like, I ought to fire you. I ought to fire you on the spot. You could have had that money. No concern about,
Wow.
suffering financially.
Oh,
It was like, you could have gotten $1 a day. All you had to do is get $1 a day, And it was a couple of years after that when my wife and we finally left, because I was like, I'm putting so much in this church, but nothing is, being put back into my life. It's like I had to care more about the church than I do my own life. And so me and my wife, we ended up leaving there, and we're at another church right now, and I thank God for the grace He's given me, because it's gave me the strength, because a lot of times when people go to a church and they meet up with these, the sow a seed and all that and everything, and then when they realize they're being duped, they will leave the body of Christ altogether. See, I didn't do that. I was like, I'm not leaving Jesus. I'm not leaving that. I'm just going to leave that doctrine. And so, I ended up leaving there. And a couple of people, they were like, well, Vincent, this is where the Lord called you to, and the Lord called you to this church, and you shouldn't be leaving and everything like that. And I got to the point where I was like, well, show me in the scriptures where it says I can't leave and go somewhere else that I feel like I can fit in,
Right.
But I still got a lot of friends at that church and everything, but I just couldn't, stay there as a member, because I felt like I was being exploited, and nothing was, I was getting no benefit from that.
Give and take, give or take and take,
Yeah,
and take.
yeah. So so I've had dealings in the church world, I've had dealings in the political world, and they just go.
Yeah. So yeah, the conservatives, pretty much, in my opinion, we went to a church for years, and it was, you have to hide. It's like a hiding thing. I'll tell my opinion. I don't have a problem telling opinion, but most of them hide. They don't. I didn't know it was conservative. It's kind of like, it's the unpopular thing, but I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. But you think about it. There's the others. Liberalism allows for the most, let's say, unholy or immoral things. You have to accept all that with it.
Yeah.
That's the problem with that.
Yeah.
And I understand. And that's one thing I cannot do. I can't tolerate abortion, number one.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be your number one platform on a national stage. It should not ever be that. This is really weird. Should not have an abortion truck at your, and vasectomy truck at the parking lot. You got to be really twisted to even think about that.
Yeah, I mean, for real. And the thing that bothers me about that is when we talk about abortion and Planned Parenthood, you have to bring up Margaret Sanger.
Yes.
And Margaret Sanger, she hated Black people. She despised them, and she was talking about her eugenics program to cleanse the race of all what she call them, unwanted weeds or something like that need to be rooted out. She said Black people are nothing more than weeds that need to be rooted out. And the thing that bothers me is in 1973, Thurgood Marshall, a Black man, he voted with the rest of the Supreme Court to legalize federal abortions. And we don't realize that Planned Parenthood was one of its number one priorities was in calling out the Black race. They had a what do you call it, contraception program, and they Margaret Sanger said, the best way to influence the Black folks is to convince their preachers that this is the thing that they need to be doing.
Wow. Yeah.
And I just learned the other day that she got that idea from W.E.B. Du Bois.
Really?
Yeah. I said, are you kidding me? Now, this is the guy, he's one of the founders of the NAACP.
Right.
And I said, wait a minute, are you serious now? Who's the sellout? I mean, for real. And I said, oh my goodness, are you serious? But she came up with the idea, and apparently it was planted by W.E.B. Du Bois. Hey, you want these Black people to kill their children? They have their preachers have a high influence in their lives. And so she convinced the preachers to convince their congregations that this is a good thing, And that's why it bothers me when I see preachers like Jamal Bryant and all these others supporting abortion. And I'm like, you all got to be kidding me. You all do know that Planned Parenthood was created for the demise of Black people, but the Negro Project, I got a book called the Negro. I bought a book called the Negro Project, and it talked about Margaret Sanger's plan to get rid of the Black race. She wanted to cull them out, just like they did in Australia. They wanted to cull out the what they call them, the Aborigines.
Right.
I don't know if you ever seen that movie, Rabbit Proof Fence. That was a great movie, Rabbit Proof Fence.
I'll check that out.
Yeah. And that was about their eugenics program in Australia, where they would take all the kids who were mixed and they would put them up somewhere. And when they got older, they would make sure they would marry a white person so that eventually it would call out the Black. So it's crazy mess, and I don't understand why we are partners in our own demise like that. And really, I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I don't think, and this is just me, I don't know, I might be wrong, but if you're a Republican or a Democrat, I don't think a church pulpit is a place for you to be shilling for your candidate.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean,
see it all the time.
Yeah. It's and in the Black churches, unfortunately, it's always someone who supports ungodly stuff, and it's time for us to open our eyes on that.
Totally agree. So that goes against all their what they're preaching to us. Doesn't mean anything after that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I heard a quote like, well, I guess I'm going to go vote for this Antichrist, for Obama or whatever. Like, if you know he's an Antichrist, why would you vote for him? And you're the pastor. Why would you vote for him? Well, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
And who are you representing?
Yeah. It's like you're caught up in, it's like Obama is your God and not Jesus Christ,
Yeah. I don't have anything against Obama. I just have things against his policies and way he thinks, and anything goes. The same thing with what we got now. Anything goes.
Yeah.
I think more than anything, being a veteran and a former military brat.
Well, thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you. We see things. You and I see things. Red, white, and blue. We see USA. All this stuff. We saw that through our childhood. So when you grow up, you're like, yeah, I'm conservative. I know this is what I believe in, and it's hard for me. I think maybe that's because my dad was conservative too. So
okay.
And what we see is, and that's why I joined the military, because of my dad.
Okay.
But we see things a lot differently. We didn't have trouble in schools. We didn't have issues like they have.
Yeah.
Everything was straight laced and it was advanced and accelerated. I remember 5th grade. I remember all that stuff. It was accelerated. You did things before the civilian kids did, and it was all about United States of America and the flag and everything.
Yeah, I remember.
That's what we grew up with, right? And the national anthem played every day while you're practicing baseball, whatever. That's what we lived with. It was red, white, and blue all the way through.
Yeah.
And then you get out, and they got like, they're not even, there's no focus. It's all about everybody's doing their thing, and the races are divided.
Yeah.
It's so obviously divided to us, but it's a normal thing out here. So, and we're our own agents for independence, right?
Yeah, really. and one of my biggest regrets is having not joined the military. My dad was in the Air Force, and if you see my Facebook page a lot, I put a lot of fighter jets on there.
Yes, I love it.
I'm a big time lover of fighter jets. My wife and I, we go to Goldsboro to the air shows, and we see the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds. And my biggest dream though is to go to Pensacola, Florida, and see the Blue Angels down there. you know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I love our military. I don't like how certain entities are trying to soften our military.
Yes, it's already happening. It's already
They
happening.
try to what they call it, cat. What is that word? Castigate. I forgot the word. Emasculate. Trying to emasculate
Yes.
our military, and it bothers me to no end. And getting back to the black issues, a lot of people have asked me, well, why are you so hard on black people all the time? Why are you so hard on them? Well, I'm a black guy, and I'm part of that group, and I don't want them to be deceived like they have been. When they talk about the police, what the police are doing to black people, I tell them, I say, well, I've never had a problem with the police. I never,
Yep.
the last time I got pulled over by the police officer was in 2013. My wife and I, we were coming back from a trip to Florida for Christmas, and I was visiting a friend down there, and we were coming back, and we went through this town called Florala, which is kind of like a combination between Florida and Alabama. And I knew I was wrong. I knew I was wrong. I was doing 55 and a 35. And before I noticed the cop, I was like, oh man, cop right there. And I knew I was speeding, and I saw him turning into the road before he even got his lights on. I was on the side of the road. I said, he got me. And he came up. He was very cordial. He was like, sir, you know why I pulled you over? I said, yeah, I was speeding. And he was like, yeah, where you going to? I said, I'm going to Durham, North Carolina. That's where I live and everything. And I was hoping, I was like, please don't give me a ticket. Please don't give me a ticket. Give me a ticket. It was $100. And I was like, well, I can't fuss with him. I was speeding. But I hear people always saying, well, the police officers, they treat white people differently from black people. And I said one time, I said, I watched a million tons of police videos over the past 30 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really, I don't think they're treating us any different than anybody else, because I've seen some white people go off on a police officer and they put their knee in their back too, put them on the ground just as easily as they would do a black person. So, and when people say that, they'll say that you're delusional. People say, well, I got pulled over by a police officer. He had his hand on his gun. I never experienced that.
Me neither.
And never. I don't live in a bubble. I don't live in a vacuum. I've never, I never had, one guy told me, he said, well, one time this police officer, he pulled us over and he acted like he wanted us to fight him and everything. I said, well, are you going to say that he was like that simply because you were black? He could do that to a white person. You don't know that. Maybe he is, Yeah. Yeah, maybe he is, and I'm pretty sure there are racist cops out there, but I think they care more about their jobs than their own racism. So they're not just going to come out there and just, you're going to have a few. You're going to have a few out there. They're going to
both ways. Both ways too.
Yeah, both ways. Yeah. And but I think they care more about their jobs than their racism. And when I tell people, when I was in I used to live in a place called Seat Pleasant, Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C. in Prince George's County. And I entered the first grade in 1974. I remember the school, Randolph Village Elementary School, Central Park, all that and everything. And when I entered the school, people were, there was some, I don't know how this got out about me or something like that, but people were saying, well, this guy's retarded. And so they put me in a special class. And they told my mom, they called my mom and they told her, Mrs. Brown, Vincent doesn't need to be in this class. He can stay here if he wants to, but he doesn't need to be in this class. And my mom asked them said, well, why doesn't Vincent need to be in this class? She said, well, your son's in the first grade, but he's reading on a third grade reading level.
Oh, wow.
Now, this is 1974,
Yeah.
tail end of the civil rights era, you know,
Right.
basically. And I was out reading everybody in my class. This includes the black people, the white people, whoever. I was out reading everybody. My mom didn't even know I was reading, you know, and and not only that, I can say that through the years, the 12 years that I was in school, I can say that there were black people in my class that were smarter than I was. You know, they had better grades and whatever. And you know, when I hear people say that black people are being held back by the white man, and you go to the black schools, they don't have the resources that the white schools have and everything.
Right.
I'm like, once again, it boggles my mind. I'm like, well, we have libraries, don't we? You know, library card works just as well with a black person as it does with a white person. We got Amazon. We got all types of places where you can get the resources. When I was growing up, now this is a black family now. When I was growing up, my parents had 2 sets of encyclopedias. And you know how expensive encyclopedias are.
Oh, yeah.
Had other books of reference. And one day my parents, my folks noticed that I used to love this show. I don't know if you remember it. It used to come on ABC called Wild Wild World of Animals.
Yes.
And I used to watch that show. That was probably my favorite show next to the $6 Million Man.
Yeah, there you go. I love that too. Yes.
But I loved animals. I loved bugs and sharks and stuff like that. And so my parents, they subscribed to Time Life Books, and they got the companion books to that show called Wild Wild World of Animals. I still got 3 of the books with me now. And I was reading those books when I was 8 years old. I was reading these books. Now, these books are not chiefly made for children,
Right.
you know. And I got a lot of information from that. I was 8 years old reading those books. And when I hear people say, well, you know, the white man wants to hold us down in there, the white man didn't hold me down. You know, my folks, they had the reference books. We had bookshelves of books and everything. And every now and then I would see myself, I would go downstairs into our basement and crack open an encyclopedia and just start reading what was in the encyclopedia.
Oh my goodness. I did the same. I loved encyclopedias.
Yeah.
Because it was it was showed the whole world.
I mean,
let me ask, what did your dad do in the Air Force?
You know what? I really can't. I really don't know what he was in the Air Force. I remember us going to his office at Andrews Air Force Base.
Yeah.
But I really don't know what he did there. We had a lot of turmoil in our family coming up and everything, and so some of the information that I have. But he used to work at a electric company called Pepco in Washington, D.C. And he had an accident. An aerosol can exploded on him, and he was burned. And when I say he was burned, boy, oh my goodness. I'll never forget that day. It was in 1980, February of 1980. And I had just caught the flu. It was my first time catching the flu. I was in the 6th grade. And my mom came and picked me up. She said, well, we got to get you home because your dad got burned. And I was sitting there thinking, oh, maybe he just got a little burn on his hand or something like that.
Oh boy.
Oh my goodness. When he came in and I saw he was bandaged almost from head to foot. And he was like, you know, he wasn't like, oh, I'm in pain, you know. And he just come in like, hey, Vincent, you okay? You know, with this bandage. I was like, what in the world happened to him? But after then, I think he left the Air Force after that. I don't know what went into that or anything like that, but really, I do say I regret not joining the military. I should have joined something in the Coast Guard or something like that, you know.
Well, I know you support the troops and your Air Force all the way through. Anyway, I got something for you. Let me show this real quick.
Oh yes, there we go. F-16, buddy.
I used to work on I worked on these for 23 years.
Oh wow.
Worked on A7s. All these planes I show you, I have worked on. So.
Wow.
and this is the Dutch. This is what they're the Dutch are flying in Ukraine, or they will be flying soon. So yeah, the F-16 is my favorite, of course. I like the 15, the A-10s, and yeah, that was my life. I worked on those. It was exciting. I'll just say that it was nothing you could have even imagined
Oh
every
my
day.
goodness.
So,
I bet it was. I tell you, I love seeing them when they're, doing their little the acrobatics and everything. And that F-15, boy,
oh yeah,
that oh my goodness. And me and my brother, we used to have this little rivalry, because he liked the F-4 Phantoms.
they're
And
gone.
I didn't know much about fighter jets then, but he kept bragging about the F-4 Phantoms, the F-4 Phantoms. He was like, Vincent, when you see a picture of a fighter jet, which one do you see more often? I said F-15. He said, "No, man, it's the F-4 Phantom. It's the F-4 Phantom." And I learned later the F-15 was built to replace the F-4 Phantom.
That is true. Yeah, same company. Yeah, McDonnell Douglas.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so I
Great
got
aircraft.
that one. But
Yeah. So
we grew up around that. Yeah.
yeah, I know you did. You air shows on the base for free. Yeah, it's a little different now.
Yeah.
So
Well, every time me and my wife we go to Goldsboro,
uh-huh.
Seymour Johnson Air Force
Yep,
Base.
been there many times.
Yeah, we go there and we have a blast. We
Yeah.
go out there and of course I'm like a kid at Christmas time, because I love seeing the fighter jets. I love seeing the
Yeah.
old planes and everything. I mean
Mhm. Yeah.
that's just exciting for me.
We used to fly with Seymour Johnson a lot. We go down there and train with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a huge, massive organization down there,
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact,
yeah,
I
it
think.
took. Oh, sorry.
Oh
So it
no.
took them the next county to get up and straight up. We like half the time we go straight up. So it's great to have like two different aircraft fly together, so you get used to that. So
Yeah.
that's one of the things. But that's the E model there.
Yeah.
That was top of the world at one time. Nobody. We go out to Vegas and fly against them. We couldn't even see them. We didn't know where they were.
Oh
They would
wow.
like kill us. That's
Oh
the technology.
yeah.
I love those guys. We flew with everybody.
Yeah.
Great guys, great guys,
Yeah.
great missions, and they do the right thing. They're doing the right thing. You got to be a special person to be in those kind of programs. So
Yeah. No. No.
but so tell me what you do now? Where do you work? Where do you work?
I work I'm a contractor for a place called Tech Systems. I've been working here for 4 years. Basically, we deliver computer parts to UNC hospitals because
Okay.
UNC, there are two hospital systems around here. We got UNC and we have Duke, and those are
Okay.
two big hospital systems around here. And we deliver computer parts. Like I work in a little small warehouse and they request, certain parts like they want a monitor or a
Mhm.
laptop or something like that.
Cool.
And basically what I do is put it all on a pallet, wrap the pallet up, get it labeled and ship it out to them, and
Cool.
that's what I've been doing for past 4 years now. And the good thing about it, this just totally blew my mind earlier this year. My boss's boss talked to me and he said, Vincent, you're too valuable for us. So we're going to give you a $4 an hour raise, which means I'm getting paid more money than I ever have in my
Oh
life.
wow, that's
You know,
awesome.
and I was like, wow, okay, let me keep up the good work then.
Yeah. Right. Right.
But it's a good job. It's kind of laid back. Um, I'm a type of person I like to stay busy though, because that makes time go by real fast. And like today, they switched us to 10-hour days. So today was my day
Yeah.
off. Every Wednesday is my day off. So I work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and I have Saturday and Sunday off, and Wednesday. So and it's working out pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah, I used to work 410s. I kind of liked it because you're off an extra day
Yeah,
or your 3 day weekend. Yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot. I missed that one. Now I
yeah.
work 5/8.
Oh yeah, yeah. It gives me some time to get some things done around here. While my wife is at work, I can wash the dishes and do the laundry and all that type of stuff. Get all that stuff out the way so she doesn't.
Yeah.
Well,
you're a good man. You're a good husband.
I certainly hope so. I really do. I'm married to the best wife in the world. So
awesome. Yeah, same here. You married to my wife? Is that what you?
Oh no! Oh
no! Tomorrow's her birthday, by the way. She's not here right now. She's getting her hair done. So,
okay.
Yeah. She's a pastor's daughter. Her father. We go to his church. He's like so down to earth. He's the most humble guy. So yeah, I have nothing but good things to say. So we're in the right place.
Oh, okay.
So what does she do?
She works at a daycare. She works at a daycare at the church that we used to go to.
Okay.
She works at that daycare, and she can tell me some stories when she gets home. Sometimes I want to rattle off on some of her coworkers,
man.
Let me just.
I know. Hold back. You got to hold back. My wife did that. She started out at daycare. She did that for many years.
Okay, yeah. My mom worked in daycare. I got an aunt that worked in daycare. So,
my mother actually, when we were on base, she worked at the daycare. So we went to daycare with our mother. So
oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. It was kind of like that when I was coming up. My mom worked at a daycare in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would go with her to the daycare.
Yeah.
But it's like, and I actually worked with my mom at a daycare on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. And, and I don't remember all the ins and outs of it and everything because I was a teenager then, but it was okay. I like kids. I love kids. I think kids are cool. I don't understand people who don't like kids. I don't understand that because we all used to be kids, and everything,
right.
So,
exactly.
But I don't have any, but hey.
Yeah. But you value kids are to be valued and they're to be helped along. Sometimes, sometimes they don't have the right kind of parenthood or anything. And I always encourage young kids, and I see it, what do you want to be when you grow up kind of thing. And how would you do that? What are you interested in? You can do anything you want in this world if you wanted to. And a lot of kids don't hear that.
Yeah.
So I like helping, some of the kids, the parents are not parents.
Yeah.
And I know if you and your wife would be parents, I think you'd be great parents.
Yeah, I wish I had some right now. We've been 20 years and no kids, and that thing about the parenting thing. We see it very evident in daycare. Some parents just don't want to be parents. One thing that really boggled my mind. My wife said sometimes the parents would take a day off, but they would still send their kids to the daycare.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are your kids. I mean, I know they can be a burden and everything. I know, but these are your children. I mean, you need to spend time with them. I mean, daycare is just to do you a service. While you go to work, we can watch your kids. But when you're home, you should be watching your kids.
Yeah, we would never think of doing that. That's not even an option. We want our kids home when we can,
Yeah. I know they can be little terrors sometimes, but
that's how you raise them and where you draw the line. That's the biggest thing. You don't abuse your kid, but you make it clear, nope, we don't do this. You're not going to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you got to be that way. You got to be the parent. That's what parenthood's all about.
Yeah. And it's an awesome job. It's one I wish I had been inducted into. I told my wife I wanted twin girls because I wanted an excuse to buy a shotgun. But
I got two girls. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, but I really look forward to doing that. I got a niece in Washington, D.C. Her father doesn't want to be in her life.
Oh, wow.
They told me how sweet this girl is. She just turned. Well, she'll be 18 in March.
Mm-hmm.
they told us how sweet she was and everything. And sometimes I just want to spend time with her. I wasn't able to because little contention between me and my brother,
Mm-hmm.
and plus they live in DC and I'm down here in Durham, North Carolina. But sometimes and I might still do it. I might adopt. I know I'll be 56 years old in October, but
Oh, you're young.
yeah. So,
You'll be
uh,
59 next month.
oh, you'll be 59.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, I thought you were right around my age. Like.
Well, that's all the same, but yeah, I think it's a good idea if you can do that. And
Yeah,
people need that. They need the father, and they need that
yeah,
figure. It's very important.
yeah, yeah. So,
At least mentor them, and I think that'd be great.
yeah, yeah. And I was in a mentoring program. We had a Big Brothers program in our church,
Mhm.
and I was with that, and that was
Yeah.
pretty good. I like that program, but you know, I wish I had my own. you
Yeah. I totally understand that. I totally understand it. Then there are people that are they have kids, but they don't have grandkids, and they never will, and that's kind of that's something that they're looking forward to.
Yeah,
It's all good as long as you have those kind of relationships with people. I think you're contributing to somebody else, even though they're not yours. I think that's
yeah,
great.
yeah. And I have no problem with that.
Mhm.
Like I said, I like kids. One of the things I love to see. I love to see this when a man is spending time with his little girl.
Mhm.
I think that's the and I don't want to say I don't have a thing for the boys too and everything, but it's just something that hits me kind of hard when you see a man taking his little girl out, to the park
Yeah.
or something like
Right.
that, spending time with his daughter, and I look forward to them days, when I worked with my
Yeah.
mom at the daycare and the fathers would come and pick their daughters up and the girls would be like, "Oh, daddy," and everything. you know, but you gotta have them boys too, you gotta have that strength in your house too, and
Yeah.
I was looking forward to
Yeah.
teaching them, when your sister's about to go outside, make sure you open the door for her, and I was looking forward to all that.
Yeah. Wow. It's never too late.
Yeah, yeah,
But you be an old man when
yeah.
they
Well,
go to high school. But I've seen that happen. That
yeah,
happens. But, well, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all about the family, the human family. And I'm not going to say it takes a village. I would never say that, but
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
it takes a parent with responsibility, um, with moral code, a good moral code,
yeah,
and family can do it. They can get
yeah.
done. It's just
And
support.
along that lines of it takes a village, I kind of get offended at that term. I guess it's a triggering term to me, I
Yeah.
guess. Because I'm like, well, what if the people in the village are a bunch of idiots? You
Yes.
know? And I don't mean to come off that strong. I really don't, like
Right.
say we're idiot or something like that. But some people are, and if you got two good parents,
Yeah.
two godly parents who are really uh, wanting to nurture their children and bring them up, the way that they should, you know, then everybody else that surrounds them, they need to be in line with the parents instead of, well, I'm going to teach this child something and I'm not going to let the parents know, like they're trying to do in our schools today, trying to teach the kids something without telling the parents. And I
Yeah.
think I think that's low down to do that because these are my kids. You didn't
Yes.
bring them into this world, and you're going to go behind my back and take my daughter across state lines to get an abortion or teach them that even though he's a little boy, he can be a little girl. Nah, nah, that's not your job. Your job is to teach them reading, writing, and arithmetic. Okay. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, I don't want you instilling this into my kids. And they're trying to fight that by saying, well, we have the right to teach your kids whatever we want to. No, you have the right to teach them whatever I allow you to teach them. And all I want you to do is teach them reading, writing, and arithmetic. We'll take care of the belief system at home. We don't need them coming here to get their belief system from you, so. And that's something I'm passionate about. I'm real passionate about, because when I see our days in school, there used to be a time there was more respect. Like if the child misbehaved in school, the parents would discipline that child. But now it's like the teachers are saying, no, you shouldn't be disciplining your children or anything like that. I know the reason why I'm still alive today is because my parents didn't play. My mom was left-handed. She's the reason why I respect left-handed people to this day.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there you go.
And my dad, if he got on the warpath, it put a fear in you. Like, I don't think I was ever afraid of anything more than I was afraid of my dad, but
yeah,
now,
right.
Yeah. So,
yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, my dad would wake somebody up. We'd wake us up. Whoever made a mistake or did something bad would wake you up and whip you.
Yeah.
But back then, this is back in the 70s, you could not say the word crazy to anybody over the age of 30.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You could not call. I called my mom crazy once. My dad picked me up. You don't ever call your mother crazy.
Yeah. Crazy, stupid.
No, everybody uses that word.
Yeah, you couldn't use them words. It was like you couldn't call someone a fool. That.
Yes,
I almost thought that was a cuss word. Fool.
Yeah.
And I said, I asked my mom. I said, is it a cuss word to call someone a fool? She said, no, it's not a cuss word, but it's not a nice thing to do. And I was like, okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not the same now than it was back then. I mean,
yeah.
People call themselves crazy as a badge of honor now.
Yeah. I mean, got a psychologist. They're catering to a lot of people's mentality, the mental processes and everything. And back what we call crazy back then, is fully accepted now. Like with the homosexual crowd, it used to be listed as a mental illness.
Right.
But they infiltrated the psychiatry and everything, and now they're like, oh, it's a normal lifestyle, And
the animals don't even do it, so
no,
that's how smart they are.
Exactly.
So it's not natural, in my opinion. It's not natural.
Yeah.
And just like back then, I mean, our grandparents, there were no black people. There were African Americans, were all Negroes.
Yeah.
That's what they called. He's Negro.
Yeah.
They're Negro. And, now it's defamatory, but African American comes from Jesse Jackson. We're not African Americans. I'm not African. Your wife is African American.
Yeah.
But I'm not. And you're not either. So I don't really like that label. I just want to be American. That's what I am.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people. I say, you cut me, I bleed red, white, and blue. So
that's right.
I ain't never been to Africa. Well, I'll probably end up visiting because my wife's family there, but before I met her, I had no desire to go there or anything like that. It got some beautiful country out there, everything, but it was never a place that I really wanted to visit. Not that I had anything against them or anything like that, but I like you said, I see myself as an American. I'm a dark-skinned American, but that's what I am. I'm an American. That's just
right. That's right.
That's how I've always seen it. I like to see that flag wave in the wind. The red, white, blue. And my wife, oh gosh, man, she'd be a great American.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my wife is. I mean, I don't know if you can hear her, but sometimes she'll put on a news program and she'll sit there and yell at the TV. No, that's oh my goodness.
I know a lot of people would do that. Sometimes they're like, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? But Vincent, I've been to Africa. I was there for like 6 weeks
Okay.
for deployment. I can't live there. Where I was is not as nice as where your wife was from.
Okay.
So it was Djibouti. It was on the coast. They get
Oh,
all their food from Ethiopia.
wow. Okay.
So it was very hot and yeah, I wouldn't want to. I would have no reason to go back. But I would
Yeah.
like to. Liberia sounds like a nice place to visit.
No, I wouldn't say it is because
It's nicer than Djibouti. I'll just say that.
it might be. Yeah, it
Right
probably.
across from Yemen, kind of. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
It's not the greatest part.
yeah,
But
that's Eastern Africa, and my wife
yeah,
she's from Western Africa.
yeah, yep,
So
yep.
yeah, and
Equator,
yeah,
yeah, it's crazy.
and see, I know this stuff because I was a geography major.
Yeah, I've always been good at that. You and I have a lot of like.
Yeah,
We have a lot of the same experience. I love geography.
yeah,
That's one of my favorite things in English and reading and learning things.
yeah,
Before computers were invented, we did
yeah,
our own homework. We did that dive into the books. That's what we did.
yeah.
So that things are different now. Everything's at your fingertips, and yeah, it's a different world.
Mm.
You have anything else? Huh?
I do miss them days a little bit. Growing up, because
Mhm.
I remember my childhood, growing up in the '60s and I mean, not the '60s, the '70s and the '80s.
Right.
Growing up in the '70s and the '80s, one thing I see of our kids today, a lot of them, they're so caught up in their phones and everything.
Yeah.
And I can understand they're addictive. Yeah, I understand. I got a Kindle. I got a lot of books on my Kindle, but I
Yeah.
also find myself buying regular books, just to, stay up to par with regular books. And we used to go out. We used to pick blackberries from our backyard. We used to,
Yeah.
we were part of a club in Clinton, Maryland, right outside of where I lived. Um, it was called the Insect Club.
Okay.
I'm exposing my nerdiness right now. Every every Saturday, we used to go out and collect bugs and
Wow.
mount them, pin them, and everything. And
Yeah.
when we got home, we used to do that. We used to build clubhouses. We would play touch football in the street.
Mhm.
And even when we had a video game system, if we were playing that video game and we heard our friends outside playing a pickup game of football, that video game went off. We went outside. We were like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But what I see now, like I was telling someone the other day, to get exercise, I go to this nearby park and I walk around to get my exercise, close my rings on my watch. And you used to see a lot of Black people out at the basketball courts, but now it's a lot of Hispanics.
Yeah.
And one day I went out there, them Hispanics had taken over the basketball court. They had food tents, they were cooking on the grill. I was like, this is crazy, but you don't see as many of us playing basketball anymore. And most of the time now, I see a lot of Hispanics, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But I'm like, back in the day, when we never had the peanut allergies, we never had the gluten allergies, we never worried
Okay.
about too much sugar and everything because we drank that Kool-Aid. We go outside, we burn that Kool-Aid off, when playing football or something like that. But it's it's a different time. I really do miss those times. Of course,
Yeah.
we gotta adapt to the times we're in now and whatever. But that's where I think a lot of good parenting comes in at. We have to, I really think the job of being a parent is even more awesome now than it was back when our parents were coming up. But if you're going to
Yes.
have kids, you have to have that mentality. Okay, this is my child. I'm going to raise them up the way that they should be, and not just accept any little wind of doctrine or anything that comes around to indoctrinate your children. Like I said, I wish I was a parent. I tell you, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
the gist of it. So
Wow. Hey, if you have any other thing you want to talk about before you go? I appreciate you being on the program tonight.
and I
It's
appreciate
been
you
awesome.
inviting me. You know, when I saw the invite, I was like, well, who is this dude? You know, he wants to do an interview with me. I'm like, sure, you know. And I felt honored. Let me tell you, if you hadn't sent me the message, I think yesterday, I probably would have forgotten. And
Yeah,
I saw that
right.
message. I said, you know what? Nah, I'm going to be there. I'm going to make sure I keep this in my memory because I want to be there. You know, this guy is, you know, he's going all out to invite me to his program, and I want to respect him enough to be on his program. You know, and I really appreciate it. You know, but I
Well,
tell you,
I appreciate that.
yeah, I really very appreciative of it. If you want me to do another show again, hey, just let me know. I will be there. I'll do my
Well,
best to be there. Oh,
well,
were
I
you
think we can do more than that. So, because we
okay? Yeah,
have, like I said, we have openings here. Um, and I will send you the login and password for that.
okay.
So,
And
if you're interested, well, if you're interested.
and send me the link to that book too. Your book.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I just totally forgot it by now. I'm like, well, gosh, it was a simple title, but I forgot it that soon. But yeah, I'm gonna check that book out too, and I'm hoping to do
Yeah,
some books myself. Says
it's called
growing.
Growing Up White, an Oreo's Guide
growing
to
up
Fitting
right.
In.
Okay,
Oh, there it
yeah.
is.
Okay,
Yeah, with the
yeah.
cookie on it. It's the other one with the cookie. There's other books like it, but they're not mine.
Okay, okay.
We'll send you a link too.
Yeah.
I'll inbox you on that.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate it. And like I said, hopefully I'm trying to get a YouTube set up so I can do
Mhm.
my podcast. And I'm trying to get up different podcasters. I'm trying to set up a podcast with those. Um, hopefully I can get it done soon and I can start getting that. I just want to put my voice out there because a lot of times when we think about where we get our information from, we always think about the Rush Limbaughs and the Sean
Yeah,
Hannity's,
right.
different personalities and everything. But I think it's folks like me and you, you know, I guess we can call ourselves common folks, I guess. I mean, we have a voice to say too. And that's why I started my program on Blog Talk Radio because I was like, you know, well, I have something to say too. I can't, you know, I'm gleaning all this information, but I have something
Yeah,
that I can give that someone can glean from as well, you know, and and I think it'll go a long way if we would just hear what the common folk. I don't mean for it to
yes,
sound
yeah,
denigrating. If we heard what the common folk were actually saying, because every election cycle they always say, "Oh, you got to vote because that's how you have your voice." You know, that's how you make your voice known. I'm like, no, if you want to make my voice known, talk to me face to face. Me giving a vote, that's not telling you anything. That's just telling you who I voted for. It's not telling you why I voted for that person. But if you want to know why I voted for someone, hey, I'm up to doing a face to face. I like platforms like this because I get to talk to people face to face instead of just, you know, okay, well, you know, just receiving information passively. Um, but face to face is the best way to do it, you know. And I think people like what is this Yard Stream and YouTube and even
yeah.
Facebook, you
StreamYard.
know,
Yeah,
they give you that option. So
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of possibilities here. We're trying to add more people to the network. So if you know anybody else, we'd be happy to have them on. So yeah,
okay,
I'll get you information. And yeah, hey, you will love the book. Enjoy it. It's like it's right up your alley. I know you're gonna love it. So
okay, yeah, I appreciate
it's
that,
really
man.
funny. So it's funny.
Oh,
It's a funny
okay.
book.
Well, see, I
It's
like humor.
hilarious
I'm a
all the
humorous
way
person.
through.
I like humor.
It's hilarious. It's hard to put down, and it's a novella level. Right number of pages for that. Other than that, I'm working on another book. I got a couple other things in mind. So, but if you ever want to write one, I am contact me. I have my own publishing company. So
Oh, really?
yes,
Okay. Well, and see, that's a question. That's a question that just popped in my head. You know, how'd you go about doing it? Because my wife, we were in the shower one day, and my wife said, "Honey, you should write a book, and just write a book
Mhm.
about your life." And because my wife thinks she thinks I'm funnier than Richard Pryor. She thinks I'm the funniest thing ever. I
Right.
don't think I'm that funny, I just go off, but she said, "Won't you write a book about your life and put a humorous spin to it and everything?" And this was in 2019, and I'm
Oh,
still writing the rough draft to it right now. And I guess I got kind of a writer's block or something like that.
I know what you're talking about. I'll give you some advice. I was in the same, it took me 10 years to write it, but the last year, I said, I got to get this done. I have to get it done because I have to get this message out. So I sat down with salsa music because I can't understand what anybody's saying.
Yeah.
I like the music, and all right, I gotta get 10,000 words this weekend. It just kept going and going and going and going. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. All that matters is you go back through and you do the spell check, and do the everything, grammar check, and you make changes. And then after you're done with that and you submit it, then the editor will find all your mistakes you thought you didn't find.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it's not hard. Your ideas are more important, and then there's a lot of things that can be corrected later. But just the idea itself is the most important thing because nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
book was a mess. I got chapters renamed and everything, and well, this should be over here. This is the wrong order. But that's the job of the editor and the people who know how to do that, to put that together. So it's the idea, and I love this idea. Trust me, I would publish this book if I had given the opportunity because I believe in it.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
it's my, that's why I wrote my book. That's the only reason I wrote it because the same thing you went through, I went through.
Okay. Yeah. Because the the book I want to write is basically a humorous book, just get for
Yes,
people to get a laugh at my expense. But after that book, I want to do others that have to do with the political world. Of course,
sure.
I want to write a book called Black by Color Only, and things like
Yes.
that. But getting over this hump right here, if I can get over this hump, I think I'll be good to go. So, but yeah, I'm gonna do that. Try to stick with it. If I had to write a few words a day, and because one of my biggest weaknesses is procrastination. I'm a procrastinator to no end, and I'm like, man, I wish I could just just get things done. But I just gotta set my mind to it, and just get it done. So, but it
Yeah, no problem. It's
and
not it's okay, as long as you get started on it, you have good concept, and you just really it's got to come out of you. Like I said, 10 years it took me to do it because I procrastinated, but I had some free time and I was like, I've got to get this done. I just had to get it done. But you'll get
yeah,
to that point, you're like, I'm just
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
let me do a few pages today and a few pages, and then you're gonna be like, okay, I'm done with this. I've got to get this
yeah,
finished.
yeah,
But the things in your life, the steps you go through, and your experiences are very valuable. People would love to hear that.
yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. And
Okay.
it's something, and it changes your life. You become a published author, it changes your life completely.
Oh wow.
Opens up a
Yeah.
lot of doors. And I was given this show, based on people that knew me. I know a lot of people in the political world. Yeah, I don't know if you saw, I went to DC. They were honoring trailblazer Black African Americans.
Oh,
There, I
okay.
went to it. Met a lot of great people. It's just things happen. So I think you would be perfect. It'd be really good for you, and you sign books and do autographs and everything. And it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's amazing. But
Yeah.
I like what you're doing, and stuff you're doing, like in the videos. You can add that to your book. All these
Yeah.
these things like this.
Yeah.
You got a
Yeah.
lot of material. Plus, you're a radio. I mean, you're blog talk host for years.
Yeah.
You got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You probably know a lot of some of the same people I do. Edwards, I don't know if you know. Anyway, there's a lot of people in the same boat, but I think you have the ability to do it. If you need any help, let me know. I can help you out. You can
Okay.
read my book, and then you'll see how I'm doing it. And it's really not that big. I can't remember how many pages. I don't remember. It's only 100 pages.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like 250. It doesn't have to be a novel.
A
It's got to
tome.
be a novella.
Yeah.
So really, I said what I had to say, right? That's
Yeah.
that's the whole point.
Yeah.
And it just went crazy. So and it's awesome. So anyway, yeah, I look forward to working with you on that in the future. Yeah, so if you write that book, I will publish it.
Okay.
You will be a published author.
Okay. I'll hold you to it.
Oh
And
no problem. I'm serious. I'm serious.
yeah.
I encourage this needs to be put out. I can't be the only person talking about this.
Yeah. I know that's right. And as a parting shot, one thing I like to let people know about me is I'm not a
Mhm.
proud person. If I say anything out the way or do anything out the way, let me know. Just
Yeah.
like I've told people, and it's half funny. I told them if I ever abuse my wife in any kind of way, you all had the permission to get a bunch of men, take me out into the woods, tie me to a tree, and bring me as close to ending my life without it being illegal. So and I'm not a proud person. If I
Yeah.
say something that's out of the way or something you don't agree with, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
And I the thing that bothers me a lot about people is, they might have an opinion or an ideal, and someone says something that's opposite of their ideal, and they take it like it's a personal attack. I
Mhm.
tell people, no, I don't want to be that person. Just
Yeah.
let me know what you think. We can agree to disagree. I mean, we might never agree on something, but just hey, you got we're not all the same. We're not all going to agree on every single point or anything like that. And so
Right.
that's why I let people know that hey, don't feel like, oh, am I going to hurt Vincent's feelings? Look, hurt my feelings, please, hurt my feelings. Maybe.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on the program. And you can come back anytime and I'll give you information and all that. And
Okay.
I did not know you were an Oreo. I did not know. It's a surprise. What? We help each other out because
Yeah.
we went through a lot. So, all right. Well, you have a nice evening and tell your wife I said hello.
Okay.
And yeah, just start thinking about working on the book. So
Okay. Yeah.
when you get a chance, no rush, no
Yeah.
pressure.
Oh
Just
yeah.
take
Yeah.
forever.
But see, now that I got that encouragement from you, I probably need to be doing a little bit more work on it now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You got something to say. That's the most important thing. Anyway, we're going to sign off. This is the American Legion Show, the Kevin White Show, and our guest. Thank you, Mr. Vincent E. Brown, and hope to have you on again whenever you would like to come on. We also have panels here where you can be a part of it. You can join in.
Oh man, yeah, I would love to be a part of a panel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I like those too.
Oh, yeah.
We got some really good panel guests. Very, very, very wise, intelligent people. We have some accomplished people there, and amazing what I learned from the people that I have. Just amazing, amazing stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I will. The next one I have, which it's probably gonna be 2 weeks from now, I'll have that on there. I'll let you know.
Okay. I appreciate
If
it.
anybody else wants to be on it, contact me. I
Okay.
get people. I got this guy, George Washington. Okay, he portrays George Washington.
Oh.
He's a former Marine. This guy is fabulous. And I also know the guy who goes to all the Trump rallies, the Uncle Sam. Yeah, he's a friend of mine too.
Oh, okay.
Put on
Okay.
this program.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to. Yeah, I want to get this coordinated. Sometimes you have a group of like maybe 10 people or something like that.
Oh yeah, I would love that. Yeah.
I know you would. And you don't have to do all the talking or anything. So yeah, well, we're going to end this now, and I appreciate it. And I'll send you an email after this. Well, I'll send you an inbox.
All right. Well, now
All
we
right.
see each other face to face. So, hey.
Yeah. I'll see you. You got to do something tomorrow morning, by any chance?
Yeah, I'm going to work in the morning. Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna do a rant.
You might, I don't know if it pops in my head, I probably will.
Okay, Vincent E. Brown. If you see this name, look for him on Facebook. And awesome interview, great guy, and look forward to working with you.
Okay.
You have a great evening, sir.
You do the same. God bless you.
You too. All right. So anyway, that was Vincent Brown. Good guy, awesome. So we actually got, here's what's this. Oh yeah, thank you very much, Isela Hernandez. And thanks for watching. That was a good show. And she's on board. So next week, we're having another special guest, somebody who made a movie. This is interesting. This is the second movie guest I've had. I will have it. So David Rossler and company, filmmaker, he made the intro for the show tonight, if you want to go back and watch it. Also, another movie maker made a Christian film, both Christian films. And I watched the trailer. It's amazing. It's kind of like maybe church politics or something, but I can't wait to see that. So we'll stay tuned for next week. We're going to have him on. We're going to talk about things like that. So, and I don't try to get into politics too much because I am a government contractor, blah, 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 blah. Not too much, but I will a little bit dive into it. So thank you, Isela Hernandez. I spelled that wrong, didn't I? I met her at the place that I spoke at years ago. That's right. Great people, wonderful people. And I appreciate friendships that go throughout, with no boundaries for state or any kind of space like that. It's all about friends, friendship, connections, and talking about what we believe in, and just like Vincent Brown did. So I want to say goodbye to everybody, and we will see you next week, probably 7 o'clock, 6 or 7, we'll see. All right, have a good night, everyone. God bless America, and see y'all later.